Hi everyone, this is Dr. Malat. I'm here today to talk to you about the critical appraisal paper that will be coming up in our course, and we want to get this information to you early on in the course so that you would have it. Basically, the critical appraisal paper is going to be the first paper in the course, and we have a graphic organizer that will help you be prepared to work with it. The critical appraisal paper is a different type of paper that you've probably never written one like it before, but basically it is we're going to be giving you a PICO question, which I know you've heard about. What is a PICO question? It's a research question that you may want to do a project about. And what we do when we're looking at a PICO question is that we need to critically appraise the literature or the scientific knowledge that's available to us in research articles. So part of this project and part of what we're doing in the course is to teach you how to critically appraise a research article for its quality. It's important for us as nurses to determine the quality of research studies. Are they good? Are they bad? Can we rely on their knowledge? Do we feel like they used reliable instruments and valid surveys to take into account the information that they needed to take account of whenever they designed their study? So this graphic organizer is a way to get your thoughts together before you start writing the paper. And we do in the critical appraisal so that it increases our confidence to use this information in practice with our patients. So you should have your qualitative critical appraisal out as we go through it here. And I just want to point out what this looks like. So this is for all the qualitative research studies that you look at. And this whole graphic organizer came from your research step-by-step projects, not projects, but step-by-step article and your textbook. So the faculty developed this form. So first what you're going to see is the grading rubric area of your paper on the first left-hand column. The middle column is the evaluation criteria. And these are the questions that you're going to need to answer for each area in your paper. And then the third column is for comments, for your comments as you critique the article. So let's first look at the introduction to the study and the problem purpose statement. When you come across a research article, these areas are not going to be having any kind of a subtitle with introduction or purpose or problem statement. Basically, this will be the very beginning of a research article. The other titles that you will see in a research article will include methodology, discussion, findings, results, implications, and conclusions. But these first two sections won't be labeled in a research article. So just to let you know and give you a heads up on that. So in the beginning, we want to just hit the highlights of these sections. And so in the beginning of your critical appraisal, you're going to just go ahead and start saying, does the author introduce the phenomenon of the study and related concepts? So in the beginning of the article, you're just looking to see, does the author, do they talk about what they're going to be talking about? Or do they let us know what concepts they're interested in and what phenomenon? Next important thing is, are they discussing the design of the research study? And if they are, then you need to say which one they are, describing. So it's more than just a qualitative or a quantitative design. We want to know exactly, and researchers should be able to let us know that it's a phenomenology design that's qualitative. It's case study, it's ethnography, it's grounded theory or ethnography. So you want to go ahead and let's say that no, the type of qualitative design is not discussed. The researchers do not state what kind of design they used. However, and looking at the article, it looks like perhaps they used a phenomenology. So you can actually put your opinion in here and relate why you think that is for the comment section. You want to keep going through and asking some of these questions. You're going to look at the abstract, the report title. You're going to look to see, is the title clear, accurate, ambiguous? Did it contain a research topic, the method used, and that sort of thing. Now for the problem purpose statement area, it's going to be really important for you to look to see what kind of background or what kind of literature that they have provided in this. The background should be able to tell you what the research question is. However, oftentimes this is not in a research article, and you have to often look at the purpose statement. The purpose statement can be dissected into the research question, so that can be helpful. You want to also find, do the authors report why? What is the rationale from the literature, from the knowledge known, why this is an important study to conduct? Next, you're looking for the problem. What kind of problem is this? What's the height, the length of the problem? What are the statistics telling us about how many people in America have diabetes and have foot amputations from their diabetes, that sort of thing. So we want to see some data there that demonstrates why this is a problem and what is the problem. We want to see a purpose statement. And here again, you're seeing, is there a statement of study, importance, or significance? And that's kind of similar to this one up here. You have importance of the study, but really we're asking, does the article provide rationale to support the importance of the study? And down here, you're just asking, we're asking, is there just a statement of significance from the research article, from the research authors themselves? Sorry, I'll get that all out. We have a literature review area here, and this is just really a bunch of articles that they're going to be talking about. They should be getting information from the literature about the topic, what the problem is, and also they should be looking at other studies that are similar to this study. And so that kind of comes about in, does the literature review meet the philosophical underpinning of the study? So we want to make sure that the authors are providing qualitative types of studies that look at this philosophical underpinning. We'll talk a little bit more about the philosophical underpinning in a minute. Next, does the literature review fulfill its purpose? The whole reason we have a literature review is so that we can know that the authors themselves are finding out what the knowledge is, what the knowledge gap is, what's known and what's not known. And that's the whole reason that they are going to be citing articles and talking about the problem and talking about what is known and not known. So if the answer of that is yes, you want to put yes here, and then maybe or if it's not, then put your opinion why and what should have been there. Theoretical framework is really a bunch of interrelated concepts about the topic that the researcher is studying. It is guiding the study, and it also helps researchers decide about what type of methodology they will use for their study. This is something that's either going to be in the report or not in the report. It's either a yes or a no, so you put yes or no here. If the authors don't have and don't state a theoretical framework, then you want to just say no. And that's a critique, that's a negative thing. If they don't have a theoretical framework, a study can be stronger if it does have a theoretical framework. So that would let us know that there's an issue problem with that. Now we're getting into the area where your article may have these different sections, such as the methodology, and then the findings and discussion, the implication recommendations, and the student conclusion. So some of the things in here are important. For the methodology, we want the authors of a qualitative study to define and describe their philosophical approach. So a philosophical approach is the way someone looks at the world, views the world, and looks at reality, and how do they study things? Do they believe in black and white, that a blood pressure is 100/60, and that's how we measure blood pressure, or that's how we measure pain? It's on a number scale of 1 to 10, or it's what the patient tells us. So a philosophical approach may also be, well, what is stress to you? Stress might be observed and measured by a heart rate of 100 versus stress saying a paid person tells you, I feel stressed. So the way a person, the researcher, looks at the world can depend on their views and their beliefs. And this is where we are talking about pragmatism, constructivism, interpretivism, and naturalistic inquiry. So symbolic interactionism is a way that people view the world through communication from person to person. And pragmatism is a pragmatic view of the world, very utilitarian approach. Constructivism is saying, well, my experiences have really influenced my knowledge of the world, and so therefore it's really important for me to make sense of meanings in my life through my experiences. So it's important for the qualitative researcher to identify this so that the person who's reading their research understands what view of the world that they're taking. Okay, then we're going to go through the sampling method, looking at the sample size. Is that sampling size appropriate to the design? And so this is where you should really have your textbook open, looking at if this article is a phenomenology, then you look and you read, well, what kind of sampling methods are used in a phenomenology? Then you're going to compare your textbook with the article that you're assigned to critique and see. That's how you answer this question. So definitely going back and forth between column 2 and column 3 on your textbook and your article to get some of this content in. Data analysis is another important section here in the qualitative study because they use different things than statistics. Statistics would be used in a quantitative study. In a qualitative study, we're going to be using thematic content analysis or content analysis, possibly constant comparative analysis, such as what's used in grounded theory. Content analysis is usually used in phenomenology. So this is why the textbook is going to be so important to use. Rigor is also very different in quantitative versus qualitative. In qualitative, we're looking at trustworthiness and authenticity. And so we're going to be using different words here, and you're going to have to look in your book for that as well. So we're coming down to the findings and the discussion. We want you to ask the question, are the findings that the researcher reports, correlating with the type of design? So for instance, in a phenomenology design, you would want to see patient quotes in the paper for the findings. You would want to see the lived experience of the subjects, of the participants in the study. Next, we get down to implications and recommendations and looking just to see, are the implications appear appropriate based on the results and purpose of the study? So you want to answer each of these questions. Don't let any of these questions go. And last but not least is the student conclusion. This is going to be the whole reason why you're using this third column over here. You've been going through this third column and saying, okay, what's good, what's not? It's a yes, the answer is yes, the answer is no, yes, no, yes, no. Coming down here and you've filled in some reasons why there were some no's, why there were some bad things. And now you want to take a good look at what you've just done through the whole entire article. And you want to talk about the major strengths and limitations of the study based on what your conclusions were above in all of the comments. So you need to answer that question. And so what are the yeses? What are the nos from above? And then also answer, what do you think the discussion discussed the limitations that the authors have, or what they talked about, or what you saw is above. Last but not least is we want you to appraise the worth to practice. So the whole idea of doing this critique is to determine, can you use this study in your PICO question? So we're pretending you have an evidence-based project and you have a PICO question. We want you to think about this article, and do you think that this article would be helpful in establishing an evidence-based practice using your PICO question? So this is the end of this graphic organizer. We want you to answer all of these questions in the paper. And all of these questions are in the rubric of what we will be grading. So you'll be able to look those up and be able to do well on your paper. We also have Ask the Faculty area if you need more questions. If you have more questions about everything that's in this graphic organizer or in the paper, and that's the best way to get information from us as your faculty. Dr. Turner and myself are here to help you. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time. And I hope this was helpful. Please let us know if there's anything more that you need. Thank you.